Hello, friends. Welcome to Train Simulator Classic. Some of the people in my Discord had recommended to check out the Rio Grande Southern route in this game, and it's been a while since I've played it, so why not? We're going to immediately go and try a winter northbound with a K-27 class locomotive for the Rio Grande, and we're going to take freight from Rico to Trout Lake on a clear winter's day. So it's been a little bit since I last played Train Sim, but, you know, why not? Plus, it allows me to explore the real love of my life, which is the narrow gauge, where in Railroad or in some of those other ones we have that pesky standard gauge stuff. So this should be fun to play. So let's get to it, shall we? Alrighty. Oh, we're moving. You'll first be filling up with water and coal before making up our train. Alrighty, so I guess that's what we will do. What direction are we heading? I'm assuming we're heading... let's see. Can I get an overview of the yard? Okay, so we are in the engine house, facing out. So I guess water and all that will be on the main. All right. So with that, let's go ahead to the reverser forward. Ooh, nice whistle. Okay. Forget if we have... Okay, we can lean out. That's right. Let's go. Alrighty. Alright, so we're going to do this hard mode. We're actually going to try to do this in first person, and I'm surprised that I cannot adjust my field of view. Okay. Let's go ahead. Oh, we're in 464. Well, I guess we'll do it this way then. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. I wish I had a little bit more free of a camera. I'm moving again. Hold on. Why am I moving? Because there are no brakes. Okay. I gotta remember that the key bindings are different in this game than they are at other games. So let's go ahead. Throw our lights on here. And I believe I'm moving back, which F... Oh, God, I'm trying to remember all the controls now. Jesus. Go ahead and throw that here. Looks like some of the sounds are a little wonky with the loops. But we will deal with that as we go here. And looks like we have a good head of pressure here. So things are going well. Go ahead, we will... Oh man, we're about to overrun. This is going perfectly. It's going exactly as I intended it. Jesus, we are showing that Angry apparently does not know how to run a real steam locomotive. He can only do the fake ones. Alright, so let's just go nice and slowly. God, I feel like an idiot right now. Alright, come on, up to the water tower, please. Alright, there's brakes off. Okay. Come on, engine. This is the high-quality train content you're here to see. A man struggling to line up a locomotive with a water tank. Truly, these are the end of times. All right, are we filling up with water? We are. Hey, look, we're not anywhere close, but it works. Let's actually back up just a hair here. I just want to back up just a hair, just a hair, just a hair. Please. All right, now we're good. Now we are golden. And now we're filling up our water tank. I was going to say to go by the Rico coaling chute. So I don't really know the layout of Rico. Oh, I am moving. Hold on. Stop you. I really need to stop just randomly throwing, hitting keys that are not conducive to what I'm doing. Okay, so let's fill up the tender. I think the K27s can have up to what? 4,000 or 5,000 gallons in the tank? Something like that. Okay, let's put the Johnson bar back to center. That way I'm not going anywhere. But, alright. Yeah, we're finally loading up. We have absolute brakes. Is the train moving or are we full? We're full. And Rico Coaling Depot, where are you? I don't know where you are in this game. So, nope, that's not it. Oh, Rico Coaling Chute. We go backwards. All right, now we're kicking with gas. Wait, Rico Coaling Chute unloading. Well, hold on. Are we... Okay. We are getting closer. So we are... Okay, now we're good. Okay, so here's the Rico Y. Oh, and I'm speeding. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm just losing points left and right. I'm not stopping fast enough here. Why is my engine just like so slow to stop? My engine brake is fully applied. Well. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. But slowly this time. I am doing so well at playing a train game. Okay. Okay. I spotted that perfectly, like I knew what I was doing. Alright, fill up on coal. We got plenty of water. We'll now be picking up the empty gondolas above the coal chute. And the whistle does not like to do what I want it to, apparently. So now we'll pay attention to what we're doing. And we will move up and go and get these coal hoppers. I guess they're the dump hoppers? Dump guns? See, I'm too used to the East Broadtop. We actually have hoppers like none other narrow gauge railroad did. You'll hide your freaking gons of everything. But, all right, so let's go ahead and move up here. Okay, nice and slowly. Don't want to go too fast. And come on, clear the switch. Come on, baby, you can do it. Yeah, these sound files are not being generous to us. Oh, and you decided just to not do what I had told you to do. Well, fine then. Slam on the brakes. Okay, realistically though, what the hell's going on with my engine? No, brakes are just stupid. Okay. The brakes literally are just that stupid. Okay. How to see a grown man struggle with a train on YouTube. Okay. Okay, please throw the switch for me. Okay, now we are aligned. Don't change the alignment on me. I might get mad. Okay. And back we go up the hill. And this is probably a steep-ass grade. I don't believe it's not 4%. But, okay, nice and easy. Come on. I'm so used to Railroader. The controls are not helping me right now. Come on, baby. I'll be now collecting boxcars off of something. Okay, well now I can actually... Let's put 5 pounds of pressure on. The brakes, they do nothing! And we're doing from the Rico Pro Patria Spur, which is up. Okay. All right, so we have to go up north of the yard here. And looks like the Patria Spur, so if we go down the main, oh, we can go this way? Yes, we'll go this way to the depot house track, and then we will go past the water tower to the front. Okay, so we'll go grab those. All right, now we have a plan. Now we're actually doing this. We're getting this figured out. And now all the controls are coming back to me, so hopefully we should be good to go. Now, I actually really love the Rio Grande Southern. I've had a couple of opportunities to ride the Galloping Goose out in Durango, and I've done a little bit of seeing what's left. I really need to go back out there and see more of what's there. But absolutely fascinating railroad. Should not have been built, but they had to do it the way they did because of just the mountains around. I mean, You know, obviously this is a game, but you can see how crazy these mountains are kind of alongside it here. And this railroad was nuts. And I don't remember how far we're going to go in-game today, but the whole railroad went through some of the most rugged parts of Colorado, and it's really impressive to see what they did. Speaking of things you're going to do, I'm going to blow for this crossing. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Nice and slow as we go on to this spur. It's a bit of a sharp curve for a K-class locomotive to take, but, you know, we'll take it. Okay. Nice and gentle. I'm on a 1% grade. I really should be paying more attention to the little mini-map down here. Okay, Rico East Siding 2. Where is Rico East Siding 2? Aha! Alrighty. Good, I'm not dragging anything. Okay. I really don't think I'm getting these brakes right at all. Go ahead, we'll slow down just a bit. Go to the front of our train here. All right, 10 pounds pressure, please. Alrighty, and we are lined. Okay. Do not cleat door. Remember that, kids. Alrighty. Now we're going to go ahead and move up. We'll take care of running around this this thing on the Rico East Siding. Wonder if we have to also grab a caboose. But I don't see any offhand. But that doesn't mean they're not here. I could just be blind. So we got to drop these off in 9/10 of a mile. No, not even 9/10. 9/100 of a mile. Math is apparently not my strong suit right now, but because I apparently don't know brakes, I don't know anything, just a whole thing. Alrighty, we'll start getting a little bit more ready. Man, this siding just seems to go on for quite a while. Now, interestingly enough, if you're a member of the Discord, you've been seeing that I've been posting about almost falling into temptation with more G-gauge stuff. And one of the things that popped up that actually, to me, looked like a decent deal was a Bachmann K27 that someone had kind of custom modeled, it looked like. And it would have been really cool to have, but I am trying to pay down the debt, not go into more debt. So, okay, we'll go ahead. ahead. You know, I probably should have tied down the handbrake, but, you know, it's got 10 pounds of pressure on it, so we'll do that. And, all right, so I guess we're about to head up Lizard Head here. Okay, train, it'd be nice for you to slow down, please. I put 10 pounds of pressure. There's no... Please. Train. Train. Alrighty. Perfect. I know exactly what I'm doing now. Isn't it obvious? Okay. Go ahead, throw the switch. We will head down the main. And we will recouple. Alrighty. Alright. So other than the fact that I apparently have no idea what I'm doing with the brakes, this is going fantastic. Got my cars. The sound files keep flipping when I try to do whistles. It's just great. Is that set for diverging? Yes, it is. Why am I diverging? So other than I have apparently no idea what I'm doing fantastic. That was not set for me that way when I started. So I guess we just have to go really slow through this yard because apparently I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. It would be nice if I brought this train to a stop. Okay. Now, Mr. Switchman, please let me through. I am just banging up these cars, too. It can't be good just continually putting the brakes on and off in emergency. Okay. Okay. And we're passing by this lovely string of cattle cars. We'll just slowly but surely head out of the yard here. Back on up, and then hopefully we can actually get this show on the road. I am disappointed there's no caboose. You always need a nice caboose. Are we almost past the switch? One car. All right, there we go. Just slowly. And by slowly, I mean actually slowly. What? What happened? Player train derailed? What? You're kidding me. All right, friends. Angry has gotten his act together and is now going to attempt to continue on his merry journey. We have to go pick up the rest of our train in the east part of the yard here. So we're going to go ahead and back up. Our train is right over here. So let's head that way, shall we? Brake pressure is recharging on the cars, and we should be able to head back. Now, the trick I've learned in the little bit of time it took off camera to get back here was to not go so fast. So putting on those little bits of pressure just to hold the train a little bit makes so much of a difference. Yes, it's been good. Plus, you can actually see this time I've not sped or done anything super stupid. But, you know, here we go at least. We're finally making some progress, and we're actually not completely borking this train. All right, so we're going to back up, go on the lead to the main over here, and then we're going to go ahead and back onto the rest of our train, and then off we'll go up Lizard Head Pass. All right, slowly but surely, let's go ahead and bring us to a stop. And can we do it? Yeah, we can. Let's go. Now, I forget who it was, but there's a guy on YouTube who recently did a trek basically following the entire route of the RGS. And it's very, very interesting. I'll try to put a link down in the comments. That way you guys can go and see it. Get through this crossing here. Come on. Let's use this opportunity here to line up where we need to go. So that's going to be switched. That's fine. And we just have to pull through until we get here. Alrighty. Come on, you silly little engine. Okay. See, this nice and gentle approach, it takes longer, but oh. Come on. How do I not clear the switch? I'm on the crossing. Okay, perfect. Here we go. Nice and gently. Just ease on down. All right, nice and slow as we go in. We probably should have our bell on if we're doing yard moves like this. Alrighty. little bit of history for you while we back up. The Rio Grande Southern was made by a man named Otto Mears, and Otto was known as the pathfinder of the San Juans. He's to credit for building a lot of the early toll roads that went into the San Juans to actually get the various ores out of the hills and get a little bit of transportation going. But then over time, he quickly realized that the money to be made was in railroads, and actually created several different railroads. The Rio Grande Southern is probably the most famous of all of them, but he also created the 3 Silverton railroads that connected with the Rio Grande in Silverton. And those included the Silverton Northern, the Silverton Gladstone and Northernly, and dang it, why am I blanking on the name of the third? Silverton Northern. I will put it on the screen because obviously my brain is not quite working right now. But he had 3 railroads in Silverton that all connected with the Rio Grande, and they all kind of disappeared by the 1930s. But the Rio Grande Southern was made because of one of them, basically as it went over what is today's $1 Million Highway. Oh, we have our order. Engine 464 at Rico. What the hell is this handwriting? 464 run extra between Rico and Placerville. And all right, let's go. And we are rolling. So we have 13 miles overhead pass. So let's get rolling here. But anyways, the main reason the Rio Grande Southern was constructed was because between Silverton and the town of Ouray, which was another really good mining town back in the 1880s, you had what is now, I believe, Red Mountain Pass. And Red Mountain Pass is where the current day $1 Million Highway runs. But in order to actually breach that pass and get a railroad over it, you'd have to have something like 8 or 9% grades. It's kind of the same problem that the Georgetown Loop suffered, where you had such a height difference in such a short amount of actual physical space that it just didn't make sense for them to, build a railroad like that. They talked about even like having battery-operated trains just to move cars over because it was the shortest completion area to the Rio Grande. But instead, they looked also and said, okay, well, over in Telluride, there's all these iron ore mines, and there's all these silver mines, and all these gold mines, and pretty much every kind of ore you imagine. And they said, hey, we need to get this out of here, but we can't go over Red Mountain Pass. And, there's Imogene Pass and a few others that you could go over, but it really is not conducive for a railroad. But if you built around from essentially Ridgeway, heading west and south near Placerville, going over Dallas Divide, you can then also link up to a bunch of communities that are up there, and also get up to Telluride, get the ore out of there, head over the Lizard Head Pass, and then down through Rico, down to Dolores, heading east then toward Durango. You can essentially build a bridge route that'll connect everything, but it took them 162 miles to do that. And the Rio Grande Southern went through some of the most challenging terrain in all of southern Colorado, and really was an incredible route. So anyways, the railroad gets built, I believe, in the late 1890s. I'm sorry, early 1890s. But then, of course, the big problem. Did that car just... I'm sorry, what? Did that car just go through our train? That's, not great there, Chief. It's not great at all. But anyways, so the railroad gets built, and almost immediately afterwards, you have the silver panic of 1893. And a lot of the reason of building the railroad was to get silver out, because silver meant money. But now with silver basically not being bought, it lost its value, the railroad almost immediately went into receivership, and for most of its life was pretty much owned by the Denver and Rio Grande. And that's why you often saw Rio Grande equipment on there, because it was just using the same stuff. The Rio Grande Southern did have some of its own engines, some of its own cars, but for the most part, just used stuff that the Denver and Rio Grande, later the Denver and Rio Grande Western would have. But the railroad shut down in 1951 and was torn up in 1952. But there's a number of cars and engines that are still around. You go to places like the Colorado Railroad Museum, Durango and Silverton. I'm not sure. I think the Cumbres and Toltec also has some of their cars today. But basically, their cars are still around. Probably the most notable engines that are still around, you have RGS 41, which is now out at Knott's Berry Farm. RGS 42 is currently inside the museum in Durango. And then, of course, Rio Grande Southern 20, which is probably the best known of all of them, currently in operation at the Colorado Railroad Museum. So go and check those out. I have seen 2 of those 3 locomotives. I have seen Rio Grande Southern 20. I saw it in pieces at Strasburg before it was back in operation. I have seen 42 numerous times when I've gone and ridden the Durango and Silverton. So, definitely fun. Plus, of course, I don't want to necessarily call them the pride of the fleet, but kind of the quirkiest thing about them was their fleet of galloping geese, which was basically their way of getting a motor car that could be run by one operator as opposed to running a steam train for stuff like passengers, the mail, limited freight. Kind of the same problem that the East Broadtop solved with the M1. Around that same time as when the Rio Grande Southern was trying to experiment with, they weren't originally called galloping geese, they were just called motors. But these motors were, gasoline powered and had basically a boxcar tapped onto some sort of bus body, and were really ingenious for what they were. And I think all of them except number 1 are still with us today. Numbers 2, 6, and 7 are at the Colorado Railroad Museum. Number 4 is over in Telluride and occasionally makes appearances of the railroads. Number 5 is owned by the Galloping Goose Historical Society over in Dolores. Number 3 is at Knott's Berry Farm. And the Ridgeway Railroad Museum over in Ridgeway has a reconstructed version of number 1, which I think I've seen that from the road. I've actually never stopped there. Usually if I go through Ridgeway, I'm on a bus tour that's heading up towards Grand Junction or Glenwood Springs to then take Amtrak through the Moffett Tunnel and through the Continental Divide. So one day, it's on my list. I would love to get back up to Colorado and ride some of the narrow gauge stuff. It's what I did all the time before I realized that there was one a lot closer to me in the East Broadtop. So one day soon. Alrighty, so we're making some progress. The grade is already steepening. We're about 2.5%. We're thankfully keeping our boiler pressure up. We got another crossing here. Hate how these cameras, they don't always have the best look at them. But now we are passing through Winkfield. What the hell is Winkfield? I'm assuming this was a mine entrance at one point or some sort of industry that they had a little spur off to. Let's run from a first person a little bit. You can really see the scale of the terrain. A lot of 13,000 foot peaks that the railroad was going past as it crossed up Lizard Head Pass. And I really wish, and I know a lot of other people have also said, if the Rio Grande Southern had stayed alive for just a little bit longer, it probably could have been preserved, or at least parts of it. If we'd gone from Rico over Lizard Head Pass, down the Ophir Loop to Vance Junction, and really at that point you could probably just run up to Telluride and have a railroad that ran Telluride to Rico. That would have been one heck of a route, and one that I'm sure a lot of people really would have liked. I personally would have really liked to see it, but we'll see. Alright, we need to get a little bit more going here as we're heading uphill. It's interesting. They have a highway on the opposite side. I don't remember. I guess that might be where today's modern-day highway is also. But, of course, the downfall of railroads like the Rio Grande Southern was, these railroads were great. They were in such remote areas that they connected all the communities and were able to bring in goods and take out ore and people and livestock and all sorts of other, materials. But once railroads had competition with the roads, that was kind of the death knell. Wow, this scenery, I realize this is a fake mountain, but it's representing what was actually there, and, that's impressive. Wish we had views like this on the on the broad top, but not to be. And we actually have a decent-sized train following us here. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or 11 cars with the caboose. So obviously making good strides. But yeah, this would have been fantastic to ride in real life if it had stuck around. Obviously, we're very thankful that things like the Durango and Silverton and Coomberbridge and Toltec and Royal Gorge Route and Leadville, Colorado and Southern and a lot of others that go through some pretty interesting terrain are still around. But, there's always that what if. What if the RGS had been saved? Looks like we're coming up parallel to the road here. Going to see if we have a crossing at some point. But it's also interesting, you can see how the road had to climb to get over that canyon while the railroad just kind of gently followed the stream. We slow our asses down. We're passing siding here. So the grade's also leveled off a little bit so we can go ahead, back off the throttle, save our steam. I wish there was a sign to tell us where we were, because I don't know this part of the railroad as well as I do others. Back when Train Simulator was Microsoft Train Simulator back in the day, I did have a Rio Grande Southern route that I played a lot, and I would always do trains from Vance Junction up to Lizard Head. But I never seemed to go Rico up to Lizard Head, which is partially the reason why I chose this scenario to run. But really a fascinating thing. But again, I know like Ames, and I know where some of the other, like the Butterfly Trestle, and obviously the Ophir Loop, and Trout Lake, and all these other places are. But on this side, it's kind of like, oh, that's right, this part of the railroad also exists. But yeah. All right, so we have a 25-mile-an-hour sign here. Does that mean we can actually speed up? And it does. So let's go. Fast track. We've still got plenty of coal, plenty of water. We'll go ahead and do that here. Quick screenshot just for the. Go. Now, last time I took a screenshot, I almost immediately derailed afterwards. So hopefully that doesn't happen this time. We'll see. And I think there's a couple of really famous photos of a locomotive that eventually became, I think, Rio Grande Southern 74. I think it was originally a Colorado and Southern engine that ended up on the RGS. And from at least the topography, I think there's a couple of old photos of it around here with the Rocky Mountain Railroad Club doing an excursion near the end of the RGS's life. I'll see if I can find them and either embed them in the video or do some stuff with it otherwise so you can see it. But the topography is really interesting, and this railroad found some interesting ways to navigate the terrain. Looks like we have the grade steepening just up ahead here, so Hopefully that bodes well as we head uphill. But I guess we'll find out now. Can we see in the caboose? We can. Alrighty. As Midland would say, it's a nice caboose. Any ride in a caboose is a nice caboose ride. We'll go ahead, get some more steam going. Oh, we're gonna drop speed. Actually, we're holding pretty well. I'm actually impressed. But this little locomotive is holding its own as we head uphill on 1.2% grade. Interesting. Do we see anything else in the caboose? It's decently modeled. See what's behind us here. We are starting to slow down a little bit. It looks like the grade is kind of all over the place. It's just kind of adjusting bits and pieces as we head around. But I believe the steepest grades in the RGS were somewhere in the 3% range. I think it was 4% on the actual bit up to Telluride. That was actually just a branch line that ran down the Vance Junction, but I may be wrong. And I'm sure there are people who are furiously typing in the comments of, no, he said wrong things about the Rio Grande Southern. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You might be correct. I know a hell of a lot more about the East Broad Top than I do the Rio Grande Southern. But at least I have that benefit because I do quite a bit. I'm actually surprised I didn't have this scenario where it would just start snowing partway through. That could be very interesting, very dangerous potentially. So, here's a question. What does the line look like before we head up it? Back off on the throttle. We are making our way up. Looks like we have the coke oven, water tank, and siding up here. And then once we up, that's the route I remember. Once we hit coke ovens, then it starts to wind a lot more. And then we have Lizardhead Pass right up here. Lizardhead Pass, I think their station, or at least the tracks here, were under a snow shed. I wonder if they had that model. And then looks like we're going to be going down by Trout Lake. I don't know how far this scenario is going to take us, but after Trout Lake is when you start to wind, and they really are gaining elevation. You have a lumber spur, and then down here is the world famous Gopher Loop, where they literally double back on themselves. And really impressive bit of track with the butterfly trestle here. Ames is, I believe, right there. And then you get down to Vance Junction where you have your connection with the line up to Telluride. And that's Placerville up there. So, this route's going to get a lot more interesting in just a little bit here. Looks like we're about still under 9 miles away from Lizardhead. Let's go ahead. Let's keep on going. If we can go 25 miles an hour, I see no reason to go less than 24. Grade is starting to steepen. I have a feeling it's going to get a hell of a lot steeper, so we might as well use the steam while we got it. Looks like our PSI on our boiler pressure is dropping just a little bit. I think that's more of a adding water to the boiler than anything else. Oh, but the grade is definitely steepening, so we've got steam. It's being made. We just need to find that balancing point where continue to go fast. And that was the wrong direction. And we're adding more water. Yeah, I think the injector's going to have to keep running at this point, because if the grade gets much steeper, we're going to have quite a haul up, and you can kind of see, not the best angle from here, but the angle is uphill. So it looks like Coke Ovens is up here. I'm assuming that is where they had some beehive coke ovens, at least on the broad top. The coke ovens over here, you basically take coal and you put it in the chamber, and basically the same process that you turn wood into charcoal, you do that with coal, and it turns it into coke. And coke is a lot more pure, it burns a lot hotter, which is good for a lot of different industries, like blast furnaces and all sorts of other things. So it was fairly popular. In fact, at least on the East Broad Top, the area around Rock Hill Furnace at one point had been basically stripped bare of all the trees because they were using so much wood for turning that into charcoal. And then finally, when they had a good source of coal coming down from Robertsdale, they just used coke, and that's what they used for the next 30-ish years that they were doing that. Let's go ahead, we'll back off just a little bit. Yeah, the grade, you can just see it start to go up here. Looks like they had a phone booth, maybe a section house or a bunk house or something up here. So it looks like we're about to hit the grade, and the grade's going to hit us hard. Yeah, right onto a 2.5% grade. Okay. Let's go ahead and throw the throttle wide open. And just start to see that drop. See if we can get our boiler pressure going up a little bit more. I don't want to drop too far, because I know that this engine is going to need it as we head uphill. This area, though, kind of reminds me, I realize we're heading uphill on like a 2.5% grade, but it does remind me of the area around Durango where you're in the valley and you're just kind of heading uphill, and you've got the highway next to you, you've got the main line heading more or less on a tangent for long periods of time, and then you just kind of go from there. It looks like we're just going to continue to slow down. We do have a road crossing. Maybe the cars won't blow through the crossing like we did earlier, but let's see here. All right, and the grade is going to steepen, but looks like we have a 15-mile-an-hour order, so let's go ahead. We're just going to drift a little bit to get our speed down to about 16, I think. Yeah. Don't want to get too slow, but we also don't want to lose the momentum we've got. But yeah, I think we're going to start winding a bit more as we head up to the pass, so go ahead, keep the throttle open, about a 1.5% grade, and here we go. We are just past there. Yep, so it looks like we're going to follow the mountain that's kind of ahead of us here, and then wind around a bit. And I know there's for lack of a better term, like a switchback curve that takes us around. And that gets us to Gallagher. All right, wide open. Here we go. What are you doing when we're not wide open? So let's adjust the Johnson bar a little bit to keep moving forward. There we go. Now we're maintaining. Take the Johnson bar back just a little. I think I found the sweet spot where it's letting in just enough steam and maintaining us at 13 miles an hour. So we'll see how that happens and how that goes. And we're still blowing boiler pressure, so almost a 3% grade. Excellent. We're making good progress. We've actually gone about another mile since I've last looked at that, so that means we will continue to climb here. So we are 59 miles. I think that's from Ridgeway. I think it ended up with milepost like 162 in Durango, right near the Durango interchange with them. Making good progress. The grade's steepening. The curves are sharpening. The hills are getting closer into us here. See the fuzzy textures on the mountains behind us as they haven't quite rendered in. But, yeah, it's definitely steepening now. We're at 3%. A little more beans. More beans, please. Gaining speed now. Things seem to be doing decently. How's it look from the caboose? Much, much better. Excellent. Though you can hear the wheels squealing a bit. Don't like that. Don't like that one bit. So, take a moment while we're gaining altitude here in elevation. Continue to move up. Not to be slowed down in that little thing. Actually, we're pretty close. We're still maintaining 14 miles an hour. So I think if I remember correctly, if we're looking at the map, we basically continue to follow this, and then we will double back on ourselves to go up that valley to get to Lizard Head. Yes, something like that. What's going on the inside of the engine? Wide open. We are holding about 200 pounds of pressure. Brakes good. Open the independent and that. Go ahead with the door open. This is looking good. We probably need to slow down a little bit. Yeah, we're gaining some speed. Well, we got some good boil. Oh, our boiler pressure's dropped. Oh. Oh, that's dangerous potentially. glad we're using steam more efficiently, but yeah, we've dropped, what, 15 pounds of pressure? Which is not really showing on the dial here. I don't even know if the dials work. But, yeah, because if that's 120, 40, 60, 80, that should be more like right in here. So, huh. Well, we'll continue to rebuild that pressure here. A small bridge coming up, and then over there? Is that where we double back? No, looks like we go on a little bit further. Go ahead and make sure we continue to build up the boiler pressure. And man, we've gone through almost 1,000 gallons of water already on this trip. Whoa, you can see the grade. Woo! We are making it, though. We are hauling... I don't know what's in there. We're hauling at least that, whatever that is. Alright, finally we're almost back to 190, 191, so our boiler pressure is maintaining good. I remember when I was playing the Clear Creek narrow gauge route, the first couple of times I did it, I had no idea how to really balance your cutoff, especially when you're heading up like a 3-4% grade, which there's a really nasty one just heading out of Golden on that map. And now I feel a lot more confident, partially because I actually know more about how everything sort of works. So yeah, that's been very helpful. Let's see where the track's going up ahead. Oh, is that it? That's the grade. That looks steep. Yeah. Well, I found where we double back. That's gonna be fun. Be really fun. Looks like we have a road crossing coming up here. And our boiler pressure is back up to where we need it to be, so fantastic. Okay, so this is where we double back. The curves are definitely getting more prominent here. Oh yeah, we're winding now. 3% grades, sharp curves, all about what narrow gauge is. Love it, love it. We're going to have to give it full beans. Let's adjust the Johnson bar a little bit. And that should be good to get us for a bit. So it looks like we just cross on the trestles and we just kind of wind our way so we get on the other side of the hill. And up we go. So let's see if we can get a good angle of one of these spots. Looks like it's all the overheads. I wish they had like side view ones they could do instead, but I guess we'll get to a better curve and maybe something better will happen. Let's try this. Let's see how this looks. Here we are, still heading up the hill. Oh crap, we are speeding. I didn't realize we were going this fast. Probably now we're going to reaction. Yeah. That's one way to slow down. Darn me trying to get a video or something. Suddenly have to deal with speeding locomotives. Yeah, you can see the height difference. This 3% grade is holding pretty strong. We're about 3.5 miles from Lizard Head Pass. And yeah, we're definitely needing more water on the other side of the pass here. Looks like this is Gallagher up here. Here's the question, is once we get up to Lizard Head, do we have to set the retainers on these cars? We probably will, considering how poorly I've been with the brakes on this one. But, I'm surprised we're still maintaining as well as we have. You can see, okay, that's how the cars end up coming up the hill here. That was an ungodly squeak from the train. That really, we're 2.5 miles roughly from Lizard Head, so we basically just kind of wander up, and then Lizard Head is right there. And then hopefully, let's see, where does this thing end? I'm assuming it ends when we pick up water from Trout Creek, or Trout Lake. Well, I guess we'll find out here. While we're still climbing up here, a huge thank you to every one of my subscribers. Thank you so much for checking out this sort of stuff, and a huge thank you to all of the channel members who have super chatted and joined and shared in this crazy little community we have. And if you have yet to check that out, consider joining the channel. You get early access to videos like this, special emojis in the live streams, members-only content, exclusive roles in our Discord, and a whole bunch more stuff. So go check that out. That's all down in the description if you'd like to check it out. So thank you. Meanwhile, we are still climbing up to Lizard Head. And looks like the pass is starting to get in sight. It's this little valley between these two giant mountains, and certainly we've been climbing quite a bit since we left Rico. And I think this campaign said it would take about 70 minutes. I think I've been playing for almost 100 at this point, because I did have to restart and get the train rebuilt here, but, you know, who's counting? The train. Trains go chugga-chugga, just like this video. It just kind of chugs along. We are gaining speed now as the grade is starting to lessen just a little bit. I'm sure it's not over yet. Just don't want to go too fast up here. Okay, Rio Grande Southern. I really wish you could stand on... Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here. Oh. I had to remember the buttons are different than Railroader. So we're going to go ahead and... down here. Enjoy some sightseeing. Took me this long to remember that the camera was like this. Let's just, we'll follow our train a little bit here. See how it does as it's heading up to Lizard Head. just a little bit here. Get another cool little shot of us going past. Okay. So let's see. We are about a mile out from Lizard Head. The grade has lessened off to just under 2%, which is nothing for this little engine. And is that the thing over there? Is that Lizard Head? That might be. Now, Lizard Head Pass was named for a rock formation that can be seen at the top of the... Oh, crap. Let's coast a little bit here. Knew it was getting too good to be true. But there's a unique rock formation that literally looks like a lizard's head, which is how the pass got its name. I'm not sure if they're going to have that modeled in the game or not. It would be really cool, and I can't remember which direction it is facing. Maybe we'll see it once we go around this corner here. And there it is. There's the snow sheds at Lizard Head Pass. That means we are reaching our destination. I can't tell since these mountains are so pixely? Do I want to call it pixely? If it'll actually have the little thing that makes it look like it, but we are almost to the top of the highest point on the railroad, and then we'll be going down the other side. See us here as we enter Lizard Head Pass, elevation 10,250 feet. Go ahead, we'll just watch this come into town. now we're in the snow shed, so I think it's time for us to back off on the throttle a little bit here. So I believe we start heading downhill pretty much the moment we're out of these snow sheds. And I think it'll be good for us to put some of the handbrakes on as we go down the hill here. As you can see, there's actually a Y underneath all this snow. Now we're heading downhill. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to start applying handbrakes. I really don't want to go down this hill super fast. And that actually seems to be good. We're going about 12, 13 miles an hour. Then we will not be rushing down this hill, and I can put a little spot of brake on when we need it. Put one more on just for safety's sake. Since we are still, yeah, there we go. That'll work. What grade are we on right now? 3%? Yeah, we'll take that brake off. That way it keeps the train stretched, and I can just use a little bit of either throttle or brake to keep us more or less in check. So I guess the stopping point for this scenario is going to be at Trout Lake, which I believe is just down below us down here. And yep, we will end the scenario once we're at Trout Lake. So we'll just follow these lovely rolling hills down. 3 miles away, and I'm going to go ahead and put that handbrake on for the next car because we're gaining speed. And yeah, I like this to be a little more controlled because I'm just nervous about what could happen with this little narrow gauge train. I don't trust the brakes. I just don't trust my ability with the brakes, so maybe this will be the solution, maybe not. I don't know. Go ahead, we'll take one of the handbrakes off. Yeah, that'll work fine. Meanwhile, let's get a decent vantage point a little bit further down the line here. Let's actually take a quick look. So there's Trout Lake. There's the water tank, so that's where we'll be stopping. And you can kind of see the railroad just kind of winds around to get down there. And we're just above it. So let's get a nice vantage point. Let's say right in front of this dead tree. getting down to the bottom part of the hill here. We've slowed down to 8 miles an hour, so that means we need to cut off some handbrakes and gain some speed. What is the grade here? 2.4%. So we lost a little bit of speed coming down there. You know what? Let's just let it roll. Let it roll. Handbrakes are off. We'll try using the brakes here. We're there yet? Kind of feels like it right now. We're almost down the Trout Lake. And now we'll put the 5 pounds on. There we go. Much better. I have a feeling we can go a little faster. But we're also on a 3% downhill grade, so that it's going to push us down a little bit here. Probably keep the train in compression. Go ahead and release. Come on, train. You can do it. You only have 1.5 miles left to go, and we're slowing down way too much once again. All right. Let's try to push 15 miles an hour. See if we can get down there just a little bit faster. And time to apply some brake. Time to apply some brake. See if that holds us at about the same speed. About 3.5 pounds. Oh, we need a little more pressure on there. There we go. It's doing a bit better. And we have the trestle up here coming up, which will then get us to the other side of the hill here. Alrighty. Let's go and roll downhill. Oh, I need to pay attention. Yes. That'll definitely stop us from derailing. Maybe. Okay. Oh man, we're down to like a 1% grade. So let's use this opportunity on a little shallow grade to look up at our lovely, lovely train. over the bridge. And we're heading downhill, so let's accelerate. Because I'm ready to get to Trout Creek, Trout Lake, Trout, whatever. It's the thing with trout. Damn it. Let's see. Yeah. Come on, train. You can do it. And then the water tank is just down here. At a very picturesque site. And actually, this water tank still exists in real life, so people can actually go and see it. And it's quite a beauty to behold in person. So, that means we need to get a train down here so we can view it in person. So where's the train? There it is. Oh, oh, oh. Going a little fast. Going a little fast. Need to slow down a little bit more. See, this is what happens. I look away from the train for 1 second, and now it's starting to roll. Alrighty, finally coming down into the station. We probably need to slow down a bit more. Let's go ahead, put 10 pounds of pressure on there. Oh, we're coming down on a 3% grade too, so this is going to be like challenge mode to actually stop in the right place. Well, let's see what happens here. Can we spot it on the first go? One. I think we might be able to pull this off. Oh, we did it. More or less. We saved the city. We've gotten our train down. Look at that. So majestic. So beautiful. So Shoney's. Alright, so we'll go ahead, fill up on water. And, looks like we've done it. We've made it. Scenario complete. Alrighty, and other than a little bit of speeding, we did pretty decent, I think. So, only a little bit of speeding. Only a little bit of speeding. Well, thank you for tuning in. If you like this, let me know down in the comments. Share it around, subscribe if you like, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.